my water. I have my water. Gonna have a couple of games to look at and boost. Hopefully at the same time. And yeah, see what it's all about. See you know, so like just basically I guess what I'm gonna do with this live stream is talk about ways in which the X2 Mini Pro surpasses the Apex and ways in which the Apex could potentially surpass the X2 Mini Pro. I realized just now I forgot to take the weight. Not the weight, but the, you know, the thing to check the weight of the devices. I'm probably gonna go pick it up after the fact. Right now, they're both connected to a backpack battery. The X2 Mini that I have, the X2 Mini Pro, I'm sorry. Bro, I need to start this Windows. The X2 Mini Pro that I have is a 64 gigabyte 2 TB, and it is a non-frostbite compatible version. So I don't have that little door here that I can open to connect the frostbite, unlike the Apex, which I do have, that has that little door right here that I can remove to connect the frostbite if I so choose. So the first thing that I'm gonna address, and look, I'm gonna be honest here, I don't have the numbers, I don't have the spec sheets, of course, because I talk a lot about these devices, because I've had the Apex basically since day one. There's a lot that I know about these two devices. Yo, what's up, Ernie? How you doing, my dude? What's up, Shrinky Dad? Shrinky Dad, I'm sorry. What up, dude? So yeah, a lot of things I know just because I've been using these devices, but I don't necessarily have spec sheets or just one-to-one clear memory of all the specs. But one thing I will say right off the bat, just looking at both, and I wouldn't say that it is a problem. So I definitely wouldn't go as far. And when talking specifically about the Apex, and I'm just gonna make sure that my settings are on par on the two devices here. But one thing I would definitely say is, to me, and that's the one thing that as I'm looking at the cameras, I do have the F1 Pro. I do have the F1 Pro. As I'm looking at the cameras, it doesn't come across, but the overall brightness of the X2 Mini Pro to me feels a little bit higher. It feels like it is a brighter device. Now, again, is it truly the case? Now, of course, having different color backgrounds right now, that probably wouldn't come across. Let me try to, if I can find like a similar picture on both, maybe. No. Can I just put this background on the other one? That would be great. And I'm gonna go grab the F1 Pro in a second. In fact, I'm probably gonna take that opportunity to also, or maybe we have the white one on this device. Yes, there it is. Okay, let's do that. All right, so again, this doesn't come across, like, it's so much more obvious right now to me. Maybe if I tilt it. Okay, let me tilt it a little bit. I'm gonna put this battery door to the absolute max of the X2. What? Are we still here? I just got a message of USB Studio disconnecting. This is worrying. Are we still live? What the heck was that? Okay. Okay. I don't know what happened. I got a message from OBS somehow, but everything seems fine. My data, my stats are fine. I don't know what it is. Anyways, back to what I was saying. The brightness on the X2 Mini is greater. So that's already one area where, you know, it greatly outperforms the Apex. Of course, there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to talk about when it comes to the panel. But before we do that, just let me go grab the F1 Pro super quick. And actually, I think I'm going to take this opportunity to go grab the balance as well. I'll be right. Yo, what up, Joey's Retro Handheld? I'll be right back. Same goes, Curious Tinkering. One quick second. Yo, what up, Megabyte? Here's the F1 Pro. Let me go get the balance. Yes, they both have the fridge feature. All right. Oh yeah, the difference will be huge. So back to what we were saying a second ago. The difference is pretty substantial. Wait, what happened to the music? That's weird. Oh. Okay, no, yeah, I don't want that. I'm sorry. That was my fault. I set up my music player wrong. Okay, let me read super quick. I am here for the answers without even listening. The answer is Apex. Oh man, wait. Is Nelly at your house? Bro, is your wife and you hanging out with Nelly? Because I'm not sure. I feel like that might be a thing right now, Joey. Can you do the same? Okay, so yes, you can. So using the GPD 1.5, that's going to be amazing. Thank you very much, Most Prep and Tech. Everyone excited? Yeah. Can you imagine anything being better than the... Oh, no. Well, see, that's the thing. I'm not... Okay, so before anything else, okay? Before anything else, I want to make this... Well, I mean, I can remove the caps. I want to make this very, very clear. The goal here is not to FOMO anyone. Oh, I bought the Apex and now it's trash. That's not what I'm trying to say. At the same time, I want to make it clear that the benefits, the advantages of the X2 Mini Pro are vast. There's a lot of them. Yo, Penna Charlie, what up, my dude? Oh, I have the GameStar stream open? What? One second, people. I have it scheduled. Yeah, bro, don't scare me. You know, it's scheduled, but it shouldn't be streaming right now. Is it? Oh, I'm sorry. That's not supposed to be the case. Yo, people over at GameStar, I'm gonna shut this one down. I'm sorry. It's automated. I completely forgot. My bad. But I'll see you guys in about 2 hours. Sorry for this. Bye. Thank you, Pata Charlie. Oops. Okay, let me continue with the chat. IPS is still very decent. Yes. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a great screen. With that said, there are many benefits with the X2 Mini Pro, and I'll make sure to highlight all of them. I may not be able to show you all of them because, you know, this is a quick live. I'm not set up to like do super massive zoom ins and show you like pixels and stuff like that, but I'll definitely happily mention what I've noticed so far. So despite this screen being brighter, you'll notice that and this is something that I actually am able to illustrate right now, is that the per pixel light leakage is something that you find in LCD panels that you don't have anywhere near as much in OLEDs. And the best way to see that is if you pay attention to the icons at the bottom. You see how despite the distance, despite the brightness being overblown, you still see the details more here than you do here? That is because the way that pixels are displayed on OLED, which I'm sure everyone knows, is per pixel. It creates a much more precise and crisp image compared to IPS, compared to LCD tech, because LCD tech, there is blur caused around pixel shifts, which is something often described as haloing, or there's another term for it that I can't remember. Anyways, not chromatic aberration, but things like that. Worried about my OXP. Oh, dude, it is considerably bigger. But let's put the screens away for a minute and let's test this out. Unstable? What do you mean? There you go. Okay, now keep in mind, this is with the battery, and once again, for this specific unit, I have the cooling unit, the liquid cooling unit. So I have the one that's compatible with Frostbite, which that one is a little bit heavier. Now, I haven't done this test yet. To me, one of the benefits that the X2 Mini Pro has is that it somehow feels, FOMO show, it somehow feels like lower in weight. So we'll see, we'll find out. I don't know if it's just because of the balancing. Okay, this is crazy though. This is crazy though. I have such a small difference. This is 8.8 inch. They're essentially the same. So I think because you have a wider grip, to me this feels more balanced. This is more pleasant to hold. I feel less fatigue from holding this one. Now again, keep in mind, this is the air cooling model. So if you went with air cooling and you compare that to a liquid cooling Apex, they are basically the same. If I had a air cooling Apex, that one would be approximately 70 grams lower. Yeah, they're both with battery. They both have the batteries on. Yep, this is wild. Okay, there's some more things to talk about. Now, this is something that is not necessarily a pro for the X2 Mini Pro, because you don't really have a fair comparison with the Apex, but at the same time, it is a caveat at this point in time, though this is something that could be fixed. And I don't know if this is normal behavior, but in my experience, it is not. So if I open up One X, and I'm gonna lower the brightness going forward just so that you guys can see a little bit better, and I hit the display, you'll see that there's an HDR switch option. And I want to thank, I think, Vocal Stone on the stream that I did yesterday that mentioned it as a comment after the fact. When you push HDR switch, nothing happens. And this is the same panel as the Legion Go 2, right? So it has HDR, it is VRR, it is landscape. So the reason for that, and I don't know why it is, the reason for that is HDR will not work unless I am plugged in. But here's the thing. I'll go ahead and plug in. All right. Now you'll see HDR works, but here's the problem. HDR is not properly calibrated and it doesn't come through on the screen. But for me right now, everything is a little washed out. Yeah, living dangerously indeed. Now, granted, these things can easily be addressed. If you have an HDR profile, if you set one up yourself, that would probably fix the issue. But right now, the profile doesn't seem to be calibrated as well as I would like to see it, and what I can definitely, as well as it is on the Legion Go 2. The Legion Go 2, you pop that HDR and it just works. It's clean. It's just, you know, it's gorgeous. That is not quite the case here. And like you said, Talifer, Vocal Stone, there you go. Well, yeah, exactly. HDR calibration, you can do all that. I just wish it was right out of the box like it is with the Go 2. Not the end of the world. The one part where I'm confused is why do we, and again, thank you Vocal Stone, because you're the one that mentioned that. Why do you have to be plugged in for HDR to work? That is not the case with the Go 2. So I feel like there may need a little bit more work. I'll be honest, I haven't had time to check with OXP. Maybe there's details that I don't have at this point in time. And here's my face, guys. So yes, just food for thought, something to keep in mind. I do feel like as cool as it is to have it and that it is bright for the future, this is a proper HDR implementation. Some of the things I don't quite understand. And like you said, no, take that with up, Nizzle. I feel like this is going to be something that will be addressed down the road. Wait, so are you saying that once you uncheck the settings, it's gonna work? I think you have to disable something in Windows. Oh, is that so? Okay, let's try that. So you're saying, bro, I never knew that was a thing. So you're saying I go what in display settings? Oh, battery option, optimize for, okay, is that what it is? No. On the display, then under HDR. I don't know if it's because I'm not plugged in at this moment, but I don't see this setting. Anyways, okay, so good to know that it's there. So that's why, I mean, ultimately the takeaway is HDR is there. So I'm happy to know that we will be able to address it without needing a ONEXPLAYER. We'll still need a calibration. I feel like people will ultimately you know, probably community-based calibration files, because usually those are saved in a file and you can share that calibration. So I wouldn't be surprised if we'll have people do it. Unfortunately, I have a Spider X, but I haven't touched this thing in a minute, so I don't know that I'll have like time to calibrate it. But as far as I'm concerned, HDR out the box, you probably want to calibrate it. Let me also put it at 53. 50, I mean. So again, when you look at both of these screens, they look very similar from what the camera's picking up. When I'm looking at them, straight into them, to me, the X2 Mini Pro achieves higher brightness overall. Yes, Joey, except of course the battery. Everything else, as far as I understand it, is better. No, I didn't see that, Chinito. Yes, that D-pad is actually swappable. And I don't remember where I put my replacement one. There it is. Yes. I swapped it yesterday. It's a little rough. Okay, perfect. I'll do that at a later time, Vocal Stone. But thank you very much. And what up, my dude? Hope you've been doing well. Hope Cali is not too hot for you right now. Okay. Some of the other obvious benefits, of course, which since we're on the topic, D-pad. The D-pad on the Apex is okay. In terms of how it feels, the switches and everything, it's about the same. I remember a lot of people were concerned with the height of the D-pad. I'll say with this one, because those corners are curved down, it doesn't feel high at all. But of course, the Apex one is more flush to the body. This D-pad, on the other hand, you really feel the height. I don't know, and you know, especially someone like you, Vocal Stone, that I know is into fighting games, I don't know that people who play a lot of fighting games is gonna like that option. Like, if you don't mind having something that is more like a satellite style D-pad, I think people will ultimately prefer that for fighting games, just because this one, even though it works, it feels a little weird because it's fairly high. This, because of the rounded corners, do not feel as high. So ultimately, I still prefer the D-pad on the X2 Mini Pro, reason being that you actually have swappable options. And again, very personal choice. I prefer the satellite style, especially for rolling motions if you're playing something like Street Fighter. Oh yeah, yeah, big time higher. Big time higher, Joey, like by a landslide. Like, you see how this one almost feels flush to the body? Here, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna risk it. I mean, shout out, because I know that this is something that we're both put a lot of importance on, but I know we have different tastes. And you see like how much higher it, like, you feel it. You feel it. Now, one thing that I do appreciate with the D-pad is that we do have rounded corners. We have rounded corners, so even though it's high, you can still roll on it. It doesn't hurt at all, but it's just weird. You know what I mean? Like, especially as gamers who have been playing for decades, it's just, man, it's different, you know? It's different. Like, it really, you feel it. And the thing, and I don't know for you guys, like, especially in situations of stress, you know, like you're under tension, you're playing like the super intense platformer or fighting game, or you're competing online, I don't know if you have a tendency to push a little harder on your buttons when that happens, when you're in that like fully committed, you know, backed curves kind of gaming posture. I don't know, man, it's kind of scaring me that it's so high on this one cross. I feel like I would be applying, not so much, I'm not concerned for the plastic of the D-pad, but I'm concerned on applying that extra pressure on the switches underneath, you know what I mean? So that's where personally, that D-pad, I'm not gonna lie, it's super comfortable. You said blisters. I don't think that would be a concern, because even though it looks sharp, it really isn't. They actually did a phenomenal job at curving the corners. But I feel it's almost like I wouldn't trust myself with that D-pad over time. So for me, it's basically gonna be yeah, I tried it. It's never gonna be the one that will stay on this one. Now, another extra for those of you who have the X1 Mini controller, the D-pad from the X1 Mini, which is kind of like a dish / cross, but with corners that are definitely sharp. If you like that one, you can use that one on the X2, and if you have it, of course, you can use that one on the X2 Mini controller. But for me, it's gonna remain that D-pad for sure. I think it has to do with just the fact that, bro, those controllers are so light. They're so light. So I wonder how just much they had to push the board up. I don't know why it's different, but it is. RGB looks fantastic on those. Let me open it up, but I wouldn't say that this is a benefit over. It seems to be just about the same, if I'm being perfectly honest. The tension is lower. So for those of you who are familiar with the X1 controllers, those feel almost identical. The tension of your sticks, rubbing the knobs, are higher on the Apex, not by a landslide. I feel like after a week of using this, most people wouldn't even realize there's a difference, but there is. The tension is a little bit higher on the Apex. The face buttons are not exactly the same. They're tighter in the Apex, and they feel more flat. Here, they're harder to see what's underneath. They're a little more spaced out, and though they are fairly flat as well, they do feel a little more rounded when you push on them. The sticks feel the same, other than the tension, but if I'm talking about the caps, they feel identical. No differences there. One big, huge, massive, and no, I'm not saying what my wife says to me, you know, in our intimate moments. Yeah, what up, Navy Spark? Bro, if there is one button that under no condition should never, in my opinion, should never be of course, Navy Spark, should never be removed from a x86 PC handheld, is a return to desktop button. And unfortunately, that is one of my biggest gripe with the Apex, and maybe you don't care, but the fact that this button is not a freaking return to desktop pisses me off so much. Now, for those of you who have been navigating Windows for many years, you'll know that there used to be a time when return to desktop was like a big button, kind of like the smart button right here. No longer. Return to desktop is just like that little itty bitty corner of your screen. So basically, if you effectively have multiple windows open and you're just using your thing, you're better off just opening the mouse mode to hit the return to desktop button. Some of you may not care. For me, it's a big deal because it's like a reset. You know, I have all my windows open. I just want to do a return to desktop. And what this button does is, well, an Xbox button sometimes, but it doesn't always work. There you go. On this one, you have your select star, you have your keyboard, you have your 1X. Those operations don't change. You have what is now a return to desktop button, and you have indeed a proper Xbox button, which in this case will open up big picture. So it works. This button is a great implementation. These two buttons make navigation on the controls so much better. It's little like I often say in HU, microaggressions that I would come in contact with on the Apex that you no longer have to worry here. And same goes for the OXP3 when we'll get it, by the way. Beyond that, everything is the same. The one difference is, you know how you have the status LED here to let you know when the keyboard is activated? On this one, this button becomes the status notification. It blinks to let you know when you're on the mouse mode. Jeez, Lemon, thank you very much, my dude. Appreciate you. And yeah, indeed, if you guys want to hit that like button, I do appreciate. Thank you very much, Lemon. And I hope you're having a great day. All right, so that is pretty much the same when it comes to the status LED. Super quick. Shoulders, they feel about the same. There's not really much of a difference. The hair triggers, I would say, are just a little different. It's like they require just a bit more tension on the apex that I'm not mad at. I kind of like it. But they're very similar. Anyone who makes the move, I wouldn't say should feel like, oh my god, am I not gonna like them? They're close enough that the average person would probably not even pay attention. The back buttons also feel extremely similar. Dare I say the same. They're tactile, don't tactile switch. Roll cabezas. As far as I know, it is now listed on the ONEXPLAYER store, but I'll be honest, I haven't paid attention. Okay. Now, these were, you know, some of the physical changes. Vocal stone. Beyond that, of course, one big benefit, if you can land an Apex, which I'll probably sell mine, you know, is you have the 395. Here you have the 388. What does this mean? From a GPU point of view, it's the same. Now, you'll hear out there, and fair warning, you'll hear out there people say, yo, 388 is gonna gain better than 395. The thing is, for someone that just picked those up and don't touch nothing, it may, in very few occasions, it may be the case, but on average, it's not gonna have it's not gonna make a difference, or the difference is gonna be extremely small. The reason being that because the Apex has more CPU cores, double the amount of CPU cores, in fact, it has to deal with more temperature, it has to deal with managing power a little differently, so sometimes your GPU might starve a little bit because the CPU is also asking for its fair share of power. The thing is, on the 395, if you close the cores, which you can do with software, you can achieve exactly what you have on the 388. The difference is the 388, you will never have double the cores. Now, on the other hand, is that an issue for someone who's like, oh my god, I have doubled the cores, half the cores, this is trash, the Apex is good, 388 is trash, 395 is good? No. Because the reality is, for the average person, 388 is still an extremely competent CPU, and very hardly ever will you benefit, like substantially so, from having double the cores. So all in all, I don't consider this to be something that people should be FOMO'd about. Unless you tell me you want to use this for massive LLM purposes, you are like an AutoCAD engineer, you are a Blender 3D animator, you are a massive, and when I say massive, we're talking like Mr. Beast kind of level of editing with all this, you know, After Effects, because editing a couple of files at 4K, it's not going to be enough to make it so substantially different. Like, we're talking about very intensive editing. For the most part, for the average person, it's not gonna matter. All right, so here's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna boot some games. I'm gonna try to boot titles on both devices at once. So I'm gonna put the Apex in offline mode and see what options I have to boot in here. Okay. This is going to be potentially a little bit of a mean test, but we're going to do Silksong. Because the thing with Silksong is it's definitely a game that is going to be very dark. Wait, what? Oh. Wait, how do you know? I put the other guy in, did I not put it in offline? Bro, are you kidding me right now? Yep. Yeah, no, that's definitely a benefit for the Apex, especially for those who got it early. Like, just the splash screen, it's already easy to see. You know, like here, this looks a little more gray. Here, this is obviously black. And there's a little bit of lighting that is, you know, pushing into the panel. So you're losing a little bit of that detail because of the lighting. And I was playing with it in bed yesterday, and yes, it is glorious. Of course, if I put it at an angle, you'll also see that there may be some shifting of lighting and colors that you won't experience really with OLED. So if you are not straight looking at it, that's definitely another area where this panel is gonna benefit. Man, it's so obvious to me how much brighter, even at 50%, that it is. Okay. No. Snap. So if we look at the vibrancy and the way that colors come out, the Apex is a good screen, and that's exactly what I was going to say. The Apex is a good screen. And here's something that we often talked about over at HU that I want people to remember. If really you feel like you absolutely must have OLED, the solution might be to get a pair of XR glasses. Like, you can easily mitigate that problem. HDR is definitely going to be one of the perks, though. You're absolutely right, Vocal Stone. 100%. And then, you know, that's why, like, I was almost on the fence about doing this live, is taking everything in perspective. If you don't have the Apex, And especially if you've been excited to get the Apex, I think the X2 Mini Pro does enough for this question that you may have to now be a no-brainer, especially since the price is no longer what it was originally for the Apex. Don't even contemplate it unless you're finding aftermarket at a greater price. If not, if you are looking at brand new for both, go for the X2 Mini Pro. Like, without a doubt. Digital Jedi, Matt said it best. This is the Apex. This is the Apex perfected. So it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. But you know, even in areas where it is dark, that's something I do appreciate from the Apex. It's not, while you may lose some of the, you know, infinite contrast that OLED will give you, it's also not terrible. Like, to me, that's absolutely acceptable, and that was never a problem when having the Apex. But now that I have the X2 Mini Pro, it's not so much that it's a problem now on the Apex, it's just I can appreciate the advantages that the X2 Mini Pro gives me. And as far as I'm concerned, I would say that colors, per pixel light leakage, response time are by far the greater benefits of OLED. Not so much the blacks. The blacks is great, but there are a lot more benefits that we don't talk about nearly often enough. Another thing I have noticed, I experienced a little less, for some reason. Let me see if VSync is on, because maybe it's per devices. It is on. That is one of those games where I sometimes see, even though it's a super easy to run game, I have seen, man, I'm losing my words right now. Scan lines on this device. Not on this device, on the Apex. Like, especially when playing Hollow Knight, Silksong. You know, again, super easy to run, but there are times when the panel would have scan lines. I have not seen a single scan line so far on the OLED. That hasn't happened yet. That I'm not saying this is impossible to get and you'll have them on the Apex. This is, you know, very uncommon, but did I see a little bit of it? Yes. Enough to bother me? No. But I'm not here to, you know, just say one is trash or one is bad. I'm here to highlight the differences. That's one of the differences that I've noticed with the X2 Mini Pro. With everything I've tried yesterday, I have not yet experienced scan lines. I don't know if they're gonna come through. They don't always. I had one just here. The thing is, it's not gonna come through, but I had one just now at the bottom, and I don't know why specifically this game. It happens fairly often. Anyways. Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, Megabyte. Let's go, Chinito. Audio. Audio, I'm gonna say that's one area where, to me, they both sound great. Man, it's crazy how good the imaging is on those speakers. I remember great speakers on the Apex, but let me try just to see. No. They don't have the same signature. They don't have the same signature at all. All right, music is gonna have to hold a little bit. Let me see if I have some, do I have some gate? No, I don't have no noise gate on my microphone. Let me bring you guys up. Okay. I'm gonna try to have you guys here. To me, the X2 Mini feels more full in terms of just the soundstage. Headphones, then it won't matter. Again, man, it's so tough doing these things because I don't know if what I hear is what you guys hear, but the difference is also quite obvious when it comes to that. All right. So yes, the audio is a little, but you know, that's the thing, right? And I kind of already gave the hint at the very beginning. If you don't have the Apex, everything I've seen thus far is more than enough to be a no-brainer as to what you should get. But even that difference that I'm highlighting here, is it so much of a difference that it's like, yo, I gotta sell my Apex, it's done, it's over, X2 Mini Pro? No. That's not what I'm trying to say. The sound was better, but the sound is also great on the Apex. Like, it's not... I don't know, the X2 Mini Pro did sound better. It sounds more full, more nuanced, the audio, the sound imaging was better. Yes, the kickstand is the same because the kickstand comes from the battery, Chinito. I have not yet found a way. Yeah, I do, Megabyte. I have to sell the lead you go to. You're absolutely right. I haven't found a way to close those RGBs. And as much as I love the look, yesterday while I was in bed trying to play with this with my wife sleeping next to me, there was a part of me that was like, yeah, man, I kind of wish I could turn this off right now. You know, I like it when I'm not in an environment where it's a problem, but you know, I'm not a big fan when I am in an environment where I'd rather shut this down. We're gonna go back on panels super quick. One thing I haven't looked into at all is when lowering the brightness to the absolute minimum. I will say, bro, camera is clearly showing that OLED can get more faint. But while it does, no, I haven't yet sold the go-to. While it does get more faint, it's not just less bright. It also feels like, you know, the vibrancy is being lost as well. It's not just not as bright. It also feels like it's less as vibrant. Like, you see how you're starting to lose details here compared to there. Now, of course, brightness helps to elevate those details a little bit, but that might be helpful. This one goes dimmer. That said, going dimmer, I am not necessarily liking how it looks, I guess is what I'm trying to get across. One thing, and that again goes to per pixel light leakage. in my experience with the little time that I've had with it, even though this is a higher panel for the same resolution, it often feels crisper than the IPS panel does. Again, that is due to light per pixel light leakage. But yeah, basically it's like this one feels that it's at a higher resolution, but you don't have to sacrifice performance to get that impression. Does that make sense? That's what I'm getting on the X2 Mini Pro. The panel is doing a lot of heavy lifting. And look, guys, think of it this way. Man, the Go 2, there's a lot to hate about it, especially when considering price. But there is one thing that everyone across the board will absolutely drop everything to attest, is that the panel on the Go 2 is phenomenal. And so it is here. Goes without saying. Kind of obvious, but you know. Let's try Subnautica 2. One thing that is the absolute same, other than of course being a 388 versus a 395, when I plug those devices through the DC barrel jack, I get 80 watt on both devices. Question, is there any flex when holding the X2 Mini Pro? No, there isn't. There is no flex here. Let me... Like in comparison to something like a Switch, no. Now, one thing is, of course, that may differ from one unit to the other. What I can say is if ever you have a little bit of flex, what you want to do is just take electrical tape and put just a little rectangle here. That's it. If ever you get yours and you have a little bit of it, just put electrical tape right here. And when you will clamp it back, it's going to tighten the mechanism and there's going to be no movement at all. Now, granted, when you remove the controller, you might have to stress a little bit more, but it'll be fine. What up, GG? How you doing? But yes, no flex, other than from my arms, apparently. Yeah, I mean, that is the case. Funny enough, you just missed it, B-Sound. I just lowered the both screens to the absolute minimum, and the OLED does go lower, but the thing is, I find that you lose a little bit of it's not just not as bright, it's that you start to lose like vibrancy and details when you lower the brightness to the absolute minimum, so it kind of hurts. Aaron, it's a little early to say, but I'll say it anyway. Yes, absolutely. The Apex has always been a great device. How can I say this? It's like if I tell you you have a burger that's $10. Okay, that's what it costs. You bite into it, it's good, fine, right? If I tell you a burger is $20, then your expectations will change. Goes without saying, right? And it's kind of the same here. Is yes, this is more expensive. And yes, it has like a bigger screen, it has OLED. And then I ask myself, with the benefits that comes with this device and the price increase, it shifts my perception, because ultimately, even though this was cheaper, if I am to compare them now at the price point that they both are, I feel like I'm getting more for my money here. And that's why this, to me, for the little time that I've had it, already feels like a superior experience. Because here at this price point, there was a lot to love, and there is still a lot to love, but there were also things that I felt I could criticize. Here, I feel like I criticize way less, despite it being more expensive, because ultimately it gives me more. I hope that's a good enough analogy. The face buttons do look nice, but for those who like to see the face buttons, they might not like it as much. It's really hard to see the ABXY. I was saying yesterday, I wish they would have put like just a very thin layer of like metallic paint on those buttons, just the lettering of the button, so just so that when the light comes on it, it picks up that light to shine the letters a little bit more. I feel like, as much as I like the crystal buttons, I like them better in terms of look than the Apex, but I feel like it's a little too faint. And for those who are gonna dislike that, yeah, they're really hard to see. Like, they're really hard to see the letters under that crystal layer. .100 brightness, depending on your panel number that you want to speak brightness to be the max of your panel. I have not tested that at all. In fact, that's what we're going to be testing, and I'm a little shocked at what I see in terms of FPS right now. I must not be at the same TDP. What the heck is going on? What? How is that possible? Nah, something doesn't add up here. 1 second. Like, I just loaded the same game. Okay, you know what? Here, let's look at the tree in both cases. Okay. Yeah, there's got to be something, like, it's the first time I booted on both devices, so logically speaking, it should be the same settings, but let's find out. I mean, no, it is. Wait, they have a hardware benchmark? Okay. Here, let's leave quality preset medium. I'm gonna make sure we're on full screen. And we're gonna match the panel's resolution. What the heck? I'm gonna make sure I am at 55 watt. I am. Okay. VSync is off. Field of view 90. Motion blur. Let's remove that thing. Let's remove both blurs. TSR. Frame rate target. Sounds good. TSR. Upscaling quality. Okay, we'll just leave that all the same. Let me just go here and do the exact same as what we have here. We're on medium across the board. We are on full screen. 1920 by 1200, right? Yes. Vertical sync off. Put the motion blur off. Apply. Apply. Okay. Bro, why are you capping FPS? Frame rate limit? What? Okay, now that seems a little more fitting. Okay, so right now 395 is pulling ahead. Oh man. Okay, I didn't expect that. Oh my god. Could it be that this game has a lot of CPU usage for water simulation? I feel like that might be a thing. Bro, that's a substantial difference. Thank you. Yeah, that's a great point. Power mode balanced. Let's put best performance on both. Take no chances. Oh, it's gone up. Could it be that this is what it was? Bro, not having a return to desktop button is such a pain. They were both on balance, but I'm gonna put them both on best performance. Let's do that. Oh, I think I'm getting attacked. Bro, what is going on with this game? Oh, I was not tabbed in. Okay, I was not tabbed in. Okay. Yeah, that is wild. Oh, yeah, 100%, Ricky. 100%. Easy. Which button? Yeah, no, that's a little shocking right now. I don't get what's happening. Ah. Okay, one's going in the water. We have a pretty substantial dip. We're in the 40s. You know, I wonder. I honestly, I wonder if it's something to do with water simulation that is maybe being handled by the CPU. Here, I'm just gonna get to the. I'll go ahead and do the same on the Apex. Here, we're gonna try to. Oh my god, dude, it's keeping a 60. Well, we had a little bit of a dip here, but beyond that, bro, there's a substantial difference. What the heck? Yeah, what the heck is going on right now? No, it's not working, or maybe I had to update something, but double tapping is not returning to desktop. Bruh. Okay. That isn't good. That isn't good for the X2 Mini Pro. That test did not you know, I downloaded Returnal because I expected Returnal to be the one game that was gonna be like, nope. So let's do a proper. Do I have Returnal? I have Returnal installed. Okay, I should have it on both. All right, now this one's gonna hurt. Now that's one test that I expect the Apex to pull forward. And this one, we're gonna do a proper benchmark. Bro, look at how the contrast is just working better. Just this little image, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, though these things are addressable, but you know, at least out of the box, it seems like this one is maybe a little more warm. I am on the latest BIOS. The latest BIOS that they wanted us to install. Oh, do you think that's what it is? Yo, why is it taking so long to boot on this one? No UV or other tweaks? What do you mean? I've been seeing this on Reddit. The 395 will always perform better at anything above 35 watt. I think the proof is going to show an NU like this on a modern game. The Steam in-game overlay? Well, that's what I'm using. That you see, you mean for like FPS counter? What I'm using on both right now. Oh, there it is. It crashed? Okay, that was weird. I don't know what that was. Oh, that was Subnautica. Yeah, UE5 is Subnautica. Returnal is not UE5. You want the full metric ones? Wait, is that not supposed to... There you go. Actually. Bro, this is hard. Now here's the benefit. Here's the benefit that no one... Yo, Black Seraph, what up, dude? Here's the benefit that no one can say nothing about. What is going on right now? Stop making me, or rather making the X2 Mini Pro look bad. Oh, okay, I wasn't properly aligned. That's my fault. I wasn't properly aligned. I don't know how to aim. True, but pinning the 395 to the first course with lasso and checking if we make for an easy confirmation beyond any doubt. I would have to get that prepared for another time. I'm a little time constricted right now, but I'll keep that in mind. And if I do another stream tomorrow, have it, or at least put it into like a video at some point. Thank you very much. How are you doing, Black Seraph? You probably don't know who I am, but I know who you are. What up, dude? Okay. Let's do a proper benchmark. Okay, so we're gonna do medium. Max frame rate. No max frame rate. What are we talking about here? No screen optimization. No like frame rate or upscaling of that kind. And let's keep everything at medium since that's what we have. Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing here. Graphics. Yes, keep changes. We want everything on medium. No max FPS. And we're on medium as well. Okay. Well, thank you very much for looking at the stream, Black Seraph. What have you been working on lately? You're a legend, dude. Are you still doing Android stuff? Are you more on Linux these days? Because I think you worked with both, if I'm not mistaken, right? No, it does not, but here's a big benefit, Alejandro, which I actually bought them, I just haven't installed it yet, is you can use a Legion Go 2 screen protector on this one. In fact, you know what? I won't install it now, but let me pull it out just to sit it on top so we can confirm. 1 second. Oh, dang. Okay. That's awesome, Black Seraph. Now, I'm actually good with screen protectors vocal still. The one reason why I wouldn't do it now is not so much because it's going to take me time. It's because I got to remove the film before I install it. And before I do that, I want to make sure that, you know, like I'm in the best conditions, like going in the bathroom and increasing air pressure by opening the faucet. And but no, I'm actually good with screen protector installation. But man, I do it on so many devices. At some point you learn ways to do it, right? Yeah, the one I got is from JSaw, and it's a perfect fit. Like, there's not even a millimeter on all sides. This is gonna be a perfect fit. Bro, these devices are throwing me for a loop. It's like the world upside down right now. Yeah, well, technically you're supposed to remove it to have better adhesion so that you're straight on the panel. You could technically try to put it on top of the film, but I have a bad, like when I use films, I want to wipe the screen so often because films are like super fingerprint magnet. So I end up having like micro scratches on them. So I'd rather just remove it and put glass and call it a day. Man, yeah, I don't know what's happening right now. Like this game that is supposed to be like a CPU intensive test. And yet here we are. So I guess the efficiency of the A core is probably what's pulling ahead here. Yeah, maybe that's what it is, Alexander. Maybe the Apex is like, yo, let's plug the fans, bros. All right, let's try another one. Black Myth Wukong, the benchmark tool. What the heck, bro? Oh, I might have forgotten to download that one. Oh no. Did I? I might have forgotten to download that one. Oh no, I have it. No, I forgot to install it. Oh man, I'm in offline. Here, let me go see how big it is. 7 gigabytes. I'm gonna lag for 3-4 minutes. Sorry. Yeah, no, the OLED is it's pulling its weight. Oh, you're saying the top vents? Yo, how did I not think of that, bro? You're probably right. I'm gonna have to do them like this. Yeah, I'm so bad. I'm sorry, I didn't have enough sleep, maybe, I don't know. Or no, I did, I'm just being bad. That's really all it is. I'm just being bad. They're both at 50% brightness, B sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it again. I just did. Oh yeah, oops. All right, I need to finish this download first. Okay, in the meantime. No, so it was Returnal. That's so weird. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's why I'm tilting them now. Whoa, 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 no. Okay. You know what? Honestly, I feel like man, I'm almost tempted. I'm almost tempted to cancel the game tests for now. And I think I'm gonna do a brand new install on the Apex. And cause I don't know, maybe I've installed some software, I tweaked some things that I don't not supposed to. But maybe we try this again, because nothing is making sense right now, and this is a little confusing to say the least. And I don't understand why I'm getting a crash error here, but oh, they did, War Child? Oh, that might be it. Oh, you're right. I have the little icon. Man, I'm so bad. Did I just close it? Okay. Bro. I'm so sorry. I wasn't ready for this. I've been running a little too much today, and I was ill prepared. Okay, well that changes. Okay. No confusion here. Okay, while this is happening, here, you know what? Just for good measures, let me check here. Oh, I didn't even. Yeah, no. Okay, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna scrap the game testing for today. In fact, I need to go off very soon, but I won't do this right away. So let's do this. Other than game testings, I'm gonna have to do another stream for that. Other than game testings, do any of you out there have questions for me that I can hopefully answer right now? Let's go for questions, straight up questions. I think when I do it tomorrow, I'm gonna keep them on the stand, the kickstands. This way there is no way whatsoever, like everything has enough opening. New electronics smells from the Exiles. It does actually, a little bit. Let me see if the Apex still has that smell. Nope. Does the keyboard hold up good? No sliding. Well, if you're talking about sliding on the screen when closed, unfortunately, it does. There's a little bit of a magnet, but it's not really strong. Honestly, like, best assume that it's like if there's a little bit of resistance, but if I tilt it back, See, like it's not holding. So ultimately, it would still need something like either a Velcro strap that is, you know, with another piece on the device on the body, or like some kind of design, a little something to hold, because right now it's not doing good enough a job. The keyboard, I've been paying extra attention. In fact, I was working with CashOS, but I'll keep that for another video. But I do have CashOS on this machine. I was working with CashOS, working with Terminal earlier today, setting some things up, getting access to drives and whatnot. And I was using the keyboard a fair amount. And bro, it's like such a conflicting thing, right? Because on one end of the spectrum, just having one is a blessing. It's like, there are times when I'm like, thank you, I can finally just slap something. It's magnetic, it's quick, no questions asked, it just works. Yesterday we tested it. It works in BIOS, it works on operating systems, it just works. But then you're starting to type and you're trying to get the dash, and it's like, where's the dash? Oh, it's an FN. Okay, it's an FN key. Where's the equal sign? Oh, okay, it's U. Okay, what? Where's everything? So that is frustrating. But then it's like, you know, you go back to the basics and you're like, okay, but am I happy that I even have one? 100%. So ultimately, this is a very noticeable pro versus the Apex. But is this going to be the keyboard where you want to do your write code, where you want to do your Excel spreadsheets? No, it's not. Not even close. How's the heat? It's been really good. It's been really good. The heat is good, bro. But that's something that the Apex already did great. I will say whatever they did here is just as great. This is, considering the power that it has, it is a very pleasant device to hold. Now, this one would be obvious because literally the controls are detached from the main unit, but it is a very pleasant device to hold, and it is a very silent device considering the amount of power that it outputs, even when you kick this at top battery TDP. It is extremely pleasant to use in that regard. Would you need grips for long sessions? I don't think so, Mike Luongo. In fact, I think from an ergonomic point of view, this and the OXP3 feels better to me than the Apex. Again, and you'll see there's a theme here. It's one of those things where, is it substantially better? No. But is it better easily? I used the balance earlier to show you guys that it is literally the same weight. Now, granted, my Apex is a liquid cooling version, my X2 Mini Pro is an air version, so it does have an impact as to why they're the exact same weight. But even though they're the exact same weight in my hands, the X2 Mini Pro feels lighter because you just have a wider surface to balance this out. I don't know, it feels better in my hands in terms of holding it. Not marginally better, but enough that I notice it. Good on the G1 keyboard. Well, there you go. I mean, the G1 keyboard was nice to type. There was really just one issue that I had with the G1 keyboard, which was the position of the geez, question mark. I just travel with a 60% keyboard. It's fine for now when you're in an airplane or hotel room with AR glasses. Yeah, I mean, it'll work. Like, don't get me wrong, it'll work. You know, if you're trying to watch a movie, you're trying to browse the internet for things like that, you're trying to like do some tweaks for your games, I think that will be more than enough. You know, I'm trying to go on a website to find some ROMs, wink wink. I'll be happy with that. But like I mentioned, you know, if I was using that to type a script for a review that I'm making on YouTube, for example, I will feel aggravated by the little challenges because of all the punctuation that I'm doing when I'm scripting or when I'm writing a text. that's where it's gonna suck. When you have a lot of punctuation to do, that's gonna be where you kind of might dislike this keyboard. But the moment it is like, you know, just quick typing, navigating, browsing, these kinds of things, it's gonna be absolutely fine. About controller have no grip, you mean like, when you say no grip, you mean like no laser texture, like no dotting or no rubber? I don't mind it. And it's like the curve is so accentuated, you don't really need it. But, you know, that's something that could be fairly easily addressed. I haven't done it anywhere near as much, but I used to have those hexagon little rugged stickers that are sold for guns. And I would put that on my mouse and on some controllers. I might do that at some point just for the heck of it, but I don't feel the need because the grip, the bumps, and the, you know, it's got some junk in that trunk, if you know what I mean. Feels good. Button sounds an issue. Oh yeah, big time. I'll get back to that in a second. As far as I can tell so far, I haven't seen a way to close that light. I don't see any purpose beyond just, you know, looking cool. That's about it. Here, let me still put a game so I can play something while I talk about these. I ordered the ONEXPLAYER 3 and I feel like the One X2 Mini Pro, so I should I sell the ONEXPLAYER 3 and buy? I don't think so, Raza. Now, that's the one thing I'm waiting for. The ONEXPLAYER 3, I think I'm gonna like more than the X2 Mini Pro, because just about everything that I talk about as a benefit versus the Apex, you'll have on the ONEXPLAYER 3, minus power. It really comes down to power, and then arguably, in my personal opinion, you're gonna have improvements also on just balance, weight, and the way that the battery is integrated. Though I understand the benefits of having a swappable battery, ultimately after having one with the Apex, I much prefer having something integrated. The one caveat that you will definitely have with the ONEXPLAYER 3 versus the X2 Mini is the kickstand. The kickstand is nowhere near as good as what you have from the battery kickstand. That is the one extremely obvious disadvantage that you'll have with the ONEXPLAYER 3 versus the X2 Mini, and again, beyond power. Button sound an issue. Going back to that, bro, these are not silent. Yesterday I tried playing next to my wife and she didn't wake up, but I was irritated just hearing them myself. And I'm a controller guy, right? I review controllers for a living, amongst other things, but a lot of controllers. This is definitely a noisy solution. Granted, it is also the case with the Apex. But for those of you out there who have the Apex, if you find that it is a noisy little bugger, it's the same thing with the ONEXPLAYER 3 and X2 Mini Pro. It makes no difference with or without. I mean, if we're talking about this one, now keep in mind, I haven't had the ONEXPLAYER 3 loaner here yet. That HU members I've been reviewing, it hasn't come to me. In fact, I don't think I'll get it. I think I'll get the one I purchased before the loaner ever gets to me. But no, the kickstand makes no difference because it's extremely wide and very robust and solid. What does the vent smell like? That's okay. That's okay. Oh my god. Oh man, 1 second. I need a be right back screen. Oh my god. Smells good, bro. Other questions? I hear the included power cord to be very short. Is that still the case? Funny enough, I haven't pulled out the power cord yet. My apologies. I did not mean to cause any freakouts. But what? Oh no, that's the battery. Damn, Megabyte. If you don't know, oh man, it doesn't look short to me at all. I mean, I don't know what people are expecting here, but so yeah, that's about as long as it is. I mean, to me, that's good enough. Now, granted, the fact that it's all, you know, connected, you can't like buy a longer cord. Yeah, like if you're hoping to like plug this on the countertop, close to the toaster, and walk around the aisle of the kitchen, yeah, you're not gonna be able to do that. But if we're talking about a night table, we're talking about a work desk, and you have, you know, the power outlet at the floor level, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You may not have super flexibility, but I think it's long enough. It could have been longer. It also could have been shorter. I'm happy with what we're having in terms of length. Let's see. I'm a little behind. I'm sorry. What about the controller attachment? I missed that one. Okay, I'll get back to that in a second. Feels better without the backpack. That's a great question. They're similar, but again, the X2 Mini Pro feels lighter because it's wider. You have more grip. So I would say without the backpack, the X2 Mini Pro also feels better. But again, we are in the marginal kind of differences. Ask to swap and they will send you a PayPal link. Swap what? I heard AR glasses, I'm obligated to respond. Fair. So back to the button sounds. I think I addressed this already, but that Black Seraph asked, but yes, no, it's noisy. The extent is more stable. Okay, is the rumble really bad? So Carnage Show, hello. Rumble, that's actually something I addressed on the stream that I did yesterday. It is, unfortunately, to my disappointment, because I'm very haptic driven. I love haptics on a controller or a handheld. It is noisy, but I was happy to notice once I started playing games, beyond the noise, it is actually pleasant. It feels nuanced enough. It's not HD rumble. It's not, you know, what you have on a DualSense controller, but it feels good. It feels, I don't think, it doesn't feel like a rotary motor. It feels like a haptic vibration, you know, a buzzing motor, but it feels nuanced enough. I don't think it's the cheapest or the lowest of the low kind of motor that we have in there. It's just, it doesn't seem isolated at all with sound. I haven't opened up the controllers or anything like that. I'm hoping if they are socketed in a piece of plastic without any rubber pad around the haptic unit, that maybe we could like put a little bit of rubber to sure dampen the vibrations a little bit, but specifically dampen the sound, because it's one of those you know, it's one of those haptic motors that you hear that zzz, zzz, zzz. It's not great in terms of sound. Yo, Clef. Okay, I did that. Here the ankle. Okay, I did that. My 3S Pro for the sermon. Yeah. Their 8-inch shouldn't have had keyboard, to be honest. Not enough space for proper typing. I would say 10-inch would be minimal, like X1 or X2. I see your point. I mean, I like that it's there. I like that it's an option. I'd rather have it than not. But yeah, it kind of goes back to the point. One thing I'll say, I find that OXP puts a pleasant distance between the keys, so you don't feel super cramped when typing on it. It's really just, it's the layout. Like, to me, that would have been better if they would have made both shift keys a little thinner and put the question mark right next to the right shift, like to the left of the right shift. Just that alone would have greatly improved the typeability on this one. But the moment you have to work with like dash, like, it's interesting that those keys are here. I'm happy that they're there. But at the same time, I don't know, and there's weird aspects with them. But for me, the main thing is the question mark key. It's the most confusing one. And then of course, not having that row of function keys is rough. I think you make a better one, man. That would be amazing. One Tech Mine. Is there any noise difference on 55 watt? Well, the higher you crank the TDP, the more the fans are gonna run. That's to be expected. With that in mind, honestly, both the Apex and the X2 Mini Pro are so good at not sounding obnoxious in terms of the fan. So this is definitely something I appreciate. And while yes, it may be a little louder, genuinely, especially if you have experience with a lot of PC handhelds that have been released in the last couple of years, you'll be surprised, dare I say amazed, at how much power you're working with and how little fan noise you hear considering the amount of power that you have with those devices. It's really something that ONEXPLAYER have greatly improved on over the past couple of, you know, iterations of devices that they have. Would have been cool if the color changes to represent different power profile. Would have been awesome. That would have been a great point, Megabyte. That's something I love about, you know, the MSI devices. It's a compromise for the X2, unable to have hardcore game RGB. Fair. I like it on the OXP3. Are the ABXY micro switch? Yes, they're just as loud. And they are micro switches. Honestly, as far as the switches beneath, I'm pretty sure they're the same for the face buttons, for the D-pad, for the bumpers, and the hair triggers. So they're just as loud. No real differences here. The button, the shape of the button is slightly different, but that's about it. Also crappy tablet mode for the X2 Mini Pro. Well, that depends. For me, the main motive to buy the X2 Mini Pro was to make it a Steam machine. And with that in mind, I think it'll have a great form factor to, you know, maybe like socket it in a 3D printed case like Rusty Quest is doing on the OXP server. Shout out to Rusty Quest if ever you hear this. And then also, you know, maybe potentially finding a hub to put in that 3D printed design so that you can connect it and have the DC barrel jack run through it like if it was a Steam machine. I think it's going to be a great solution for that. And this is what I fully intend to do eventually once, you know, I've done the reviews and the videos. Once I'm ready to set it up for myself, that's the goal. That's the intention. My mom. I'm still reading some of those comments. Yeah, no, Volko Stone gave me the walkthrough. I'm gonna have to set this up for HDR to be used on battery. I'm happy to know that it's gonna be easily addressed. Yeah, you're free. Let's do it again, Alpha. Unfortunately, this time has passed. Okay, would you underclock the X2 MP? Yeah, sure. I mean, if you can use more power, if you don't need more power rather, but you'd rather preserve your battery life, absolutely. There's no reason not to. And you know, with the right tools, it's not complicated. You can just use the TDP slider. But even in some cases, like when I'm traveling and I know that I'm really like on high scarcity for battery, I tend to have a game that is going to be like super easy to run. Let's say something like Nina the Hollower, and I'm going to park cores on my CPU and lower my TDP. I don't need to have, you know, probably more than 2 cores, maybe sometimes even 1 with super low demanding games like something like Nina the Hollower. So you can have like battery life for so long if you underclock, park your cores and lower your TDP. So yeah, absolutely, I do that when it calls for that. At home, I'm more of a drive it off to the wall kind of guy. She's a thrower. Is there any no wobble? And that's something I mentioned earlier, and a recommendation I would be happily give to anybody. If ever you get a device like this and you find that there's a little wobble, it doesn't have a wobble, but if you find that there's a wobble that developed, just put, okay, I'm gonna have to do this first, but just put a piece of electric tape on, like a little triangle before putting back your controller, and it's gonna eliminate any wobble you may have. So yeah, that's an easy way to address that issue if ever you were to have that issue. Did you get a controller centerpiece? Yes, I did. I was holding it a second ago. I'll take it out in not too long. I'm just gonna finish this. In fact, you might spot it. It's right next to me right now. It's right here. Great centerpiece. Works awesome. This thing clicks. It's not just a trackpad, it also clicks, which I greatly appreciate. And of course, you can use that to connect your controllers. Now, one thing that doesn't work yet, Beardy McGee, if you're not familiar, which is one of the moderators over at the OXP Discord, he sent me a whisper. So I know that they're working on it, but there's supposed to be a firmware update that will let us use the X1 controllers on the X3, the ONEXPLAYER 3 or X2 Mini Pro, or use them on the bridge as well. So that's nice if you want a different ergonomic style and you don't mind having the hair triggers. That might be something, an extra that people want to spend for. So, you know, it's nice that we have this as an option. And if you don't know what I'm talking about these controllers. So right now they don't work and it looks a little funky on the bridge. But once we have the firmware update, we're going to be able to do that. So, you know, if you want something that is a little more controller shaped, that's a solution that we'll have once the firmware updates are issued. Or, of course, putting those on the device itself. But yes, this is a great tool. You have the dongle. You have the dongle right here. Thank you, Gigi, for helping me, you know, try to get this better. Thank you very much, Gigi. Yeah, hopefully it's going to be coming soon. So I'm looking forward to having that firmware, just, you know, for the ability to be able to say, yes, I did it. Yes, it works. But if it doesn't by the time you get your device, if you're waiting for one to arrive, just know that they're working on that. That is an extra vocal stone, that direct to battery cord, which is somewhere around the corner. I have it somewhere close. Is available, bro. If there's one accessory that is, thank you for mentioning it, for everyone who is in chat right now. If you are getting a ONEXPLAYER X2 Mini Pro, or if you're getting an Apex or anything that has the battery backpack, you absolutely want to get that tether cord. Sorry. That tether cord is fantastic. It is amazing. Like, being able to shift the weight off of the device while still retaining battery power is low-key one of the, like, especially if you walk around with a sling bag or a backpack, and like you want to keep your battery you don't want to have to hold the weight in your hands, or you're in bed. It does not come with the tether cable. That is a separate purchase. It's right over here. So you connect one end to the battery and the other end to the device, and here you go. You don't have to have the weight with you at all times. Like, even in bed, sitting on the couch, you want to sit it by you and not have to like hold this weight in your hands. That is a fantastic accessory, and it's not stupid expensive. I think it's something like 30 bucks, 20, 30 bucks. Don't get me wrong, I'd rather not have to spend it. It would have been great as a gift, but unfortunately, that's one of those things that you got to get separate. If there's one thing you got to spend, and for those of you who know me, you know how vocal I've been about, you know, when ONEXPLAYER says, oh, this is a 3-in-1 device and they don't include the keyboard. That's the kind of thing that tilts me a little bit. But I would say when it comes to the tether cable, I would recommend that you get that even before you get the keyboard. That's how impactful that accessory is. It really is a good one. I was looking at my OBS. Oh no, what am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, that might be, no. There you go, I saved it. Mouse. Bro, I'm having a tough day. Well, that depends, because the ONEXPLAYER 3 campaign has extras that are different than the X2 Mini Pro. So it depends. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember which, but one thing I can tell you for sure, the X2 Mini Pro comes with those extra earbuds, and I got to test them. After I'm done with this Fall Guy thing, I'm gonna pull them out and we're gonna talk about it a little bit. The controller locking retention is great, Devin. It's one of those things that is extremely well executed, and yeah, like I mentioned, if as long as you put you might probably weren't there when I did, but as long as you put a little, oh my god, a little bit of electric tape, you're good to go. Bruh, this guy can go. Wait, what? There you go. Bro. Oh my god. The saves. That sucked. All right. Sorry. Don't like the fan tone on my Super V. It's whiny at high watts. Really, I had never got to hold a Super V. I came so close to buying one. Really, I didn't know that the fans were a little more noisy on that one. In fact, I'm supposed to have the Super X. I know it's not the exact same device, but I'm supposed to have the Super X for review in not too long, a loaner. But I don't know when it'll arrive. It's stuck somewhere in Y, and I'm in Canada. That thing can get Fall Guy to 120 FPS for sure. I don't know what I was on, but 100% it could be. It could do it. Is the battery pack updated to the new version? Yes, I have the newer version. It should blow up. You're the only controller reviewing and testing the 388 Mini 2. Well, maybe I'll make sure to put some extra efforts to put some videos out there. This is the second live stream. I'm probably going to do another one tomorrow where I'm a little better prepared. I'm sorry, I was filming a lot of things with the Steam machine today, so I was really busy with that, but I'll try to find some more time to better prepare myself and do some more of those testings comes tomorrow. Thank you for letting me know, Joel, from last night. Pokemon Gold Silver DSL emulator having extra has turned out to be a stroke of genius. It has its pros, it has its cons. There are times when I appreciate the battery backpack. There are times when I'm like, ah. And since for me playing on a handheld happens more at home, I'd say that I prefer to have everything put together than I do the backpack. But I get it. I get the benefits. I get the advantages. That's something we talked about often over at HU. And GG that is in the chat right now, he'll tell you that, you know, we both went really back and forth with the backpack. At first I was like, what? And then I was like, okay. And then I tried it and I was like, oh, but it's like, there are pros, there are cons. Ordered an OXP3 with intention of being hooked up to a portable eGPU Aorus 5060 Ti AI box. When I want to plug in with internal screen, any noticeable improvements I can see? Not really. In fact, Remdel, I know this is a little bit of a controversy thing because too often, in my opinion, USB 4 is presented as the same as Thunderbolt 4, but in fact, Thunderbolt 4 has some benefits. And when it comes to bandwidth, and not total bandwidth because they're the same, but just bandwidth consistency over longer periods, Thunderbolt 4 should technically perform better. So not only will OXP3 hooked up to an eGPU perform just as good as an X2 Mini, especially when considering the eGPU mentioned, I would argue that it will even perform a little bit better technically on the OXP3 than it would on the X2 Mini Pro. So yeah, if that's your use case for when you want to have that extra power that the Intel RG3 will not give you, don't fear for FOMO at all. You have the better device for that type of approach when you're going to be docking it and putting it with an eGPU. I just joined and ordered the OXP3 last week, but I'm having regret that I didn't get the X2. Which one are you preferring? I don't have the X3 yet. I think I'm going to like better the OXP3, but I won't know until I try it. Hopefully their units are going to be shipping soon. I am really appreciating the X2 Mini Pro. I like its power, of course, but I think the overall balance without the battery pack is just going to be a little more fitting for me with the ONEXPLAYER 3. Honestly, I wouldn't feel regret. They're both options. They both will have benefits over each other, and also they both share a beat ton in common. So you're actually not that far off from an X2 Mini Pro on many different aspects. Power is going to be the greatest differentiator, but it's not like it's only better on the X2 Mini Pro. The OXP3 will have many areas where it shines over the X2 Mini Pro, especially when using lower TDP. So they both have their advantages. If you commute a lot, you will greatly prefer an OXP3 over an X2 Mini Pro, for sure. So controller locking retention, I know I answered it, but I'm just super quick. I'm going to answer it again. It's phenomenal. It works great. I have no wobble, but what I wanted to say earlier is if you ever have a little bit of wobble, just put a little rectangle of electric tape here and put it back, and you'll notice that it's going to tighten the mechanism without hurting your actual mechanism. It's just going to give you no wobble at all. So if it develops a little bit of one over time, it's easily addressed. I've been doing that on the Switch for the longest time, and I hardly have any wobbles. On something that doesn't have wobble out the box, I believe it's going to be like, it's going to feel just as tight as an actual all put together handheld. What's this game? I like it. This is Fall Guys, Raza. It's a great game and it's a free to play, though now you have to get it on the Epic's Game Store. Make another controller option with no micro switches. I agree, Choco. I think they should do that. I think it would be phenomenal. That's one thing that I thought they were gonna emphasize on and benefit over, having detachable controllers. They kind of did, because the original module had membrane sticks, and then eventually they released a Hall effect stick. I think it's a miss on their part to not offer more options. I'm glad that these are updated with quality features like hair triggers. That is a big one for me. I used to not care at all for hair triggers, but eventually now it's like, if you give me the choice between an analog trigger and a hair trigger, like a digital trigger, I'd prefer to have a digital trigger if I can only have one of the two. So having hair trigger to me is a big deal. But I do wish there was membrane options. I agree with that. That would be great. AAA gaming on 80 TDP with high settings, bro, it is absolutely phenomenal. Now granted, you have to be tethered to the wall for 80 watt TDP, but it is phenomenal. That said, 55 is in most case scenario more than enough, but if you want to have that extra juice for games that demand it, it's fantastic. That chip is so capable. There's one thing to be said about the 8060S GPU that is found in the 388 that is on the X2 Mini Pro, or the 395 that is on the Apex, is that was the first time that I had a handheld and I was like, okay, we're here. We're at the point where I'm like, I could see myself ditching off a PC because of the convenience without making too much of a sacrifice with power. This chip is amazing. Add firmware updates in beta currently. Don't forget to start that jungle. You can use it like a separate track. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I could still use it now, though I haven't. Well, here, let's do it. Let us do it. Does it not go? Okay, that I answered. Can you use the bridge directly? Can you comment on the loudness? It is very loud. That's one thing. Like, if you're hoping to use this in bed, unfortunately, both the OXP3 and X2 Mini Pro are loud devices. They are. Like, the buttons and everything, it's not faint. Like, you definitely hear it. That's for sure. So, you know, that may not be to everyone's liking, and understandably so. Oh, do I need to... Wait, there's no button. Is it one of those where you have to put it in pairing and only when you plug it is it gonna... Wait, what? How? Anyways, I don't know why it's not working, but you could use it as a distance pad. Comes with an extra external battery on the IgG campaign. The Apex got an extra one because people wanted something different out of the battery, something that OXP had decided from a security point of view. But I don't remember an extra battery being included in any of the devices, but maybe I'm remembering it wrong. And I'm in Canada, so I did not have, you know, tariffs. And like Vocal Stone said, tariffs are supposed to be included for people living in the US. At least that's what I've heard. I'm in Canada. I had to pay a small amount. It really, like, it was not even $100. So it was pretty good, all things considered. Can you comment on the loudness of the mechanical face buttons? They are loud. They are loud. That's unfortunately one of those things that if you are if you know the Apex, they're just as loud. They're not louder. They're just as loud. And this is the kind of controller that you don't want to use next to your sleeping spouse. It's gonna bother them for sure. I don't know if I can have you guys hear it. Actually, let me mute the music for a second. Like, it's not a faint solution. Now, one thing I haven't looked into yet, I don't know if I'll have time for that. I need to see. I think I have an idea on how to open them, but you know, maybe it's going to be possible to put something like Captain Tape over the switches to try to mute the noise a little bit. But yeah, that one is it's a noisy one for sure. I'm gonna have to go super soon, guys, so I'm gonna try to really, like, rapid fire those questions. Okay, I can comment on it. Are customs included when ordering from the... I believe so, all zeros, but I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure. I would recommend asking in the ONEXPLAYER Discord. Hated it and loved it, and now I'm kind of in the middle. Hated it. What are we talking about? The trackpad? Con in the battery is that you could drop it thinking it's attached. Yeah, bro, I was so sure I had cracked my, you know, glass mouse pad. That was a scary moment. USB 4s have the bandwidth. So it is not have the bandwidth per se. If we're talking about the maximum bandwidth, USB 4 is just as fast as TB4. But the thing is, TB4 guarantees that bandwidth bidirectionally. So usually when you're using an eGPU, there's data coming in, there's data coming out. That's why it's always ideal to use HDMI out of the actual eGPU to cast the image to an external screen, because when you do that, data can go more steadily in one direction. So usually it's gonna result in more FPS if your GPU is, or if the bandwidth is capped. So that's the difference. TB4 is able to achieve if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 40 gigabit per second bidirectionally. That is the benefit the TB4 has over USB 4. So with a 5060 Ti, I would assume that in some cases, especially in high FPS, you will most likely cap your bandwidth. So having TB4 would, technically speaking, give you better results, especially if you're using something like a hub on that eGPU, if you're using the screen on the device. Areas where, you know, data has to go more back and forth, you will benefit from TB4 versus USB 4. Customs are not included using their store, so be ready for this. It's not mentioned. Thank you very much, Vocal Son. I wasn't 100% sure on that. Yeah, USB 4 V2 would have been A's, but the problem is the lanes were never made in the reference design of AMD. That's why those chips don't have the lanes to support USB 4. So V2, that is USB 4 V2. I'm sorry. So that's why it's not even a question of, oh well, ONEXPLAYER wants to do it, so do they want to like put the R&D to develop that solution for this device? They can't, because your APU does not have the lanes to support that connector. That's the reason why it doesn't exist on this this line of APUs, basically. Half is the same as paper with the controller. Almeria versus Intel's. There you go. Dude, I just want to say thanks for this vid and all the helpful info. We were all star for coverage. Oh, awesome. Thank you very much for dropping by, Mr. DLJ5. I don't know if you're still here, but thank you for the comment and support. I appreciate it. Said tomorrow. Yeah, I'll do some more AAA games testing tomorrow. Mine's coming by Monday. It could have been here by Saturday. Can't wait. Also, did you manage to get the... I did when plugging it. The one issue with HDR right now, and now it is possible on battery. Vocal Stone, once again, thank you very much. Gave me the walkthrough, so I'm probably going to get that set up off camera and hopefully have it working for tomorrow. But there is one caveat, is there is no calibration for the panel that is like hard rooted, if you will, in the panel's EDID. So we will have to implement, which this is something that could easily be like the community coming together to make a great profile, or you can make your own. I can make my own. Unfortunately, I'm not like a colorist like that, so I'm not an expert in doing that. I know like some basics. I could, you know, work with what's the thing with the, man, I can't remember the word, not a historiograph, but there's something called to like show you all the different colors. I know how to work with a tool like that, but there's also hardware involved that I don't know how to navigate. So I'm hoping someone in the community will come with the profile, because we don't have one right out the box. I'm pretty sure the case on the ONEXPLAYER 3 is a little smaller, but bro, this case is spectrograph. Thank you, Gigi. That case is fire. Look at this handle, bro. That's what came with the X2 Mini Pro. Yo, this is a case, my dude. You're not gonna need for anything else. That was a gift on the X2 Mini Pro campaign. I'm pretty sure it is purchased separately on the ONEXPLAYER 3, but I think the ONEXPLAYER 3, they give you a backpack though, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was a gift. Only if you get it from the if you got it from the crowdfunding campaign. The Transformer buds. Okay, that's where I ended. The Transformer buds. I brought them out. Sorry, man. Oh yes, well you're right, Megabyte. I'm pretty sure there was a bundle when you buy the battery that the cable did come with. Yes, you're right. Nelly said she's going to look to mod the sticks on the controller. Looking forward to the test descent. Yes, that would be nice, because the tension is low. I know not everyone is going to like that, or rather, you know, it's not going to be everyone's favorite. So having the ability to mod it would be great. So yeah, Nelly might be the one who makes a video on how to open these. I don't know if I'm going to give it a try. I kind of want to see the inside, because I want to see that haptic motor. I think I have an idea, but you know, I don't know. I might leave that for later. Performance the same right now. I'm not gonna lie, Will 89. Right now, it's been so inconsistent. Like there are instances where we expected 395 to pull ahead and 388 did, and instances where expected 388 to pull ahead and 395 did. So I'm gonna look at everything, make sure that everything is the same across the board. Potentially even do a fresh install on both devices using the ONEXPLAYER One Touch Restore, and start fresh tomorrow and make sure that like there's no discrepancies whatsoever, because it was weird today. So I'll redo that tomorrow. 5090 XG Mobile EGP. I use it with my Legion Go 2, but sometimes I have issues. Is it an AM? Yes, it is an AMD Z2 Extreme issue. It's going to work better on proper mainline drivers. I don't know why it does that, Chris Pena. Or is it Pena? I'm not sure. I don't see the thing on the end. But that said, yes, it should perform better on either the 388 or the Intel RG3. For some weird reason, I'm pretty sure GG also had those types of experience. Z2 Extreme had some inconsistencies with eGPUs, even though it's supposed to work. I couldn't tell you why. It's not always the case, but in my experience, when working with mainline APUs from AMD, that was never an issue. Fluke, maybe. That's been my experience. Oh, absolutely. That's what I'll be doing, Devin Bain. That's the, well, maybe not the eGPU, but that's the goal. I got the X2 Mini Pro because eventually those controllers are going to fly away. Hey, and it's going to become a Steam Machine-like system. OXP3, get case and backpack from IGG. Thank you. I think you get the case. Just go with the D-pad, HDMI. Okay, then we're good. Take off your shirt if you want to use my... No. You trying this? Yep, absolutely, Will89. Yep. Yes. That's a great way to look at it, Devin Bain. Detachable controllers better. OLED better. Accessory keyboard better. Like, if and greater size and not necessarily greater weight, or at least not substantially so. And depending on the configurations that you're looking at, like I've proved today earlier in the video, they can literally be the same weight. Apex versus the X2 Mini Pro, despite having such a bigger screen. So all those are guaranteed benefits. The APU, that's something I'm going to have to revisit. But it seems it's going to be a toss-up from time to time. Though I wouldn't have expected for that toss-up to be as big as we saw today. So I don't know. That's why I'm going to do the fresh install. That made no sense, if I'm being honest. What happened today made no sense to me. So maybe I have something off in my settings. That's what we will revisit tomorrow. Bro, that would be awesome. But the problem is something I found after trying. So, you know, that was by my own demise, Carnage show. I have opened controllers in the past and tried to change their haptic motors to HD motors, which are easily acquirable. But the problem is they operate under different amperage. So it's not as simple as just swapping it. You would need a current converter. And that's why it's not as, unfortunately, it's not as simple as just swap one out, swap the other back in, and boom. Yeah, I wish, believe me, I tried. And eventually, after like wondering if I could just go to another option, I spoke with an engineer at a game controller company that had controllers with both HD Rumble and, you know, regular haptics. And they were the one to tell me, because I was like, why is this not working? They weren't the one to tell me. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't use a voltmeter to test, which probably I should have. They were the one to let me know, yeah, that's because the amperage is different. You need different voltage between the two. So that's why it's not working. So even if the data could pull through, there's other issues to address. All right, guys, thank you very much, Will89. I appreciate. And this is where I'm calling it, because I'm actually jumping on another stream. I'm going to be streaming till midnight. So, you know, I hope you guys have a blast. I will be back tomorrow with some more testings. And eventually, I will also make videos to put. So thank you all for being here today. I appreciate. I have a blast. I want to do some more of those. So stay tuned if you want to see some more of those, because I will do some more. Make sure to hit the subscribe if it's your first time around. And before I go and shut it down, please consider hitting the like. That always helps the channel. That helps me. That helps the video get, you know, pushed across for more people to watch, and hopefully for people to come join this community. All right. You have a good one. Take care. Peace.